And welcome, Alice Woodson. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me, Hutch.
I have never seen you in a shy moment. This is the first. Let me get my smartphone. As long as I have known you. But you've organized charity events around town. You've been very active. And now all that activity is for something that you absolutely love. It is biscotti. And first of all, how did you, of all the things you can cook and all the things you can make, you picked really one of the hardest desserts out there. Where did you get your love for biscotti?
I have an Italian aunt in New Jersey.
Oh, there we go.
And so when we would go up north, so Mama would call it, Uncle Jimmy would take a ride into the city and bring back these white wrap boxes. And he would go to the Italian pastries, the Italian pastry shop.
Yeah, that's it.
And bring back all those white boxes. And so there I found the love of Italian pastries, needless to say, biscotti.
Now, and biscotti does taste different than other pastries if you've never had it before. In fact, doesn't the word biscotti mean twice baked?
That's correct. That's correct. And you bake out the moisture, and therefore my product, as well as the other biscotti on the market, have a shelf life of 4 to 6 to 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. The sailors used to take it on the ships back in the Renaissance period.
And now it's like for dipping into coffee and things like that?
That's right. That's right.
Now, you started making them in the oven in your kitchen and without giving away any kind of ingredients. When you're making these, how long does it take to make? Let's say you're going to make a pan of them. You know, how long would it take to make that? Because there's layers after layers, aren't there?
Well, you bake them in loaves, and then you slice them after they're cooked, and then you flip them over, and you bake out the moisture again, and then you flip them again, and you bake out the moisture the second time. Then you have to let them cool. Then you have to ice them, let them cool, and then I put them in my beautiful bags. I ice mine, which sets mine apart from the most biscotti you'll see.
Now, how does that set them apart? What does the icing do when you ice them?
Well, I just make them beautiful.
Oh, you put icing on them.
On them, yes.
See, you're talking to a guy. When you said I ice them, this is the logical mind. I'm thinking you put them in the freezer or something.
No.
You mean you put icing on them?
Yeah, the majority of biscotti you get are uniced.
But this is delicious.
Thank you.
This is a mint. Menta chocolate mint.
That's mint in Italian is menta.
Menta. And I want to also say, because I'm going to put a picture of this on Facebook, your wrapping and everything is delicious. It looks like it's beautiful. It looks like something designer out of New York.
Well, thank you. I've even had people say that my presentation could end up on a shelf in Tiffany & Company in New York.
Oh, it could. It could. It's beautiful. The cardboard description that comes with it, describing everything. I don't know who printed this up for you, but they did a great job. This does look like something absolutely huge. Out of a store in New York or something. It's beautiful brown with nice colors in it. And this, the Menta Chocolate Mint. Now, you have how many flavors?
I keep 7 on hand at all times.
Okay, and we're talking with Alice Woodson this morning. If you just tuned in, I invite you to also go to her Facebook page, because you've got 1 or 2 things on there about the East End. You have to scroll through Pint in the House and everything else, but Pint, and see, my accent comes back in the morning. But there's all kind of... Now, do you have a separate Facebook page?
I do. Ambrosi Biscotti. You can go like that and follow me as well.
And I see it on your... Oh, that's a beautiful sweater you're wearing there.
Thank you.
She's got a hoodie there with Ambrosi, Ambrosi Biscotti.
And this is after my Aunt Grace in New York. This is her maiden name. I asked if she would allow me to use that, and she gave it to me with her blessings. She was Grace Ambrosi Edwards.
That's very sweet. So you've got some good family energy going into this, too.
Absolutely.
Now, is she still around?
Absolutely.
Wow, because that means I'm sure she's very proud of you.
She's got more energy than I do.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
She's quite the lady.
I have to drink caffeine. I think your body manufactures
She
caffeine.
drinks espresso.
Really? Doesn't sound like she needs it. We're talking with Alice Woodson this morning, and an amazing story. First of all, where did you go from I like cooking this to I think I'll make it and sell it? When was that?
Well, you mentioned I started out just baking, playing around with it in my kitchen after I got back from the beach and had some that I'm like, oh, I won't get these to taste good anymore. And so I handed them out to friends and family, and you know as well as I do, they'll tell you they like it just to get rid of you.
Absolutely, you're right.
So then I went to people business contacts that I knew would give me an unbiased opinion. And they all said, including one girl that worked on Main Street, she says, I'm a Jersey Italian gal. She said, this is the best I've ever had in my life. And she left me a little note in my basket that I took over there, and I found it when I got my car, and to this day I still have it. Because It means a lot.
Say that. Oh, yes.
It means a lot.
One of the first compliments you get about fulfilling your dream always means a lot. Particularly, in this case, an Italian from Jersey talking about your biscotti.
Absolutely.
So you were making this in your own kitchen. When did you realize you needed a bigger kitchen because the demand was there? Just selling them to friends, or had you already started selling them to some businesses?
No, I knew I couldn't sell them making it out of my kitchen because I have dogs. And in order to have, you know, an inspected kitchen, you can't have any little creatures running around.
That's true.
So I would make them just to...
For friends and stuff?
Yeah, to sample. And I had several big business people said, you know, we'll carry your product once you are licensed and inspected in a commercial kitchen.
Wow.
And so my wheels started clicking, and one of the businesses I approached, the gentleman there had a kitchen on Main Street that was not being utilized at the moment, and so they offered me to use that.
So it's interesting that as they see the quality of your biscotti, people start to line up to kind of help you. But it's still been quite a journey. And you've gone from discovering that you could cook it and do a good job and honor a family tradition to now you have a commercial kitchen in a building separate from your house, correct? Tell us about that.
That's correct. When I was on Main Street, I tried to put the cart before the horse. Imagine that. Anybody knows me, you know, 150 miles an hour. And I was going to branch into having a tea room and everything. Well, I stepped back and looked at that, and I thought, well, you know, this is more work than I really can put into it. And so from there, I decided maybe I'll just put it on the back burner. And I had people that came to me and said, no, you can't. You know, you've got us hooked on this. You can't do that to us. So from there, I found a commercial kitchen down in Rockingham County, and I would travel down there with pots and pans and flour and sugar clanging in my Blazer. And it took me an hour to get down, an hour to set up, and that was just not feasible. Plus,
now, how long did you do that? That's almost it's almost like a comedy television show.
Oh, it was horrible.
And comedy is what's tragedy to you is funny to me. That's the whole basis of comedy.
Oh yeah, and what really got my wheels to turn in Hutch was I was in there. I'd already made 100 of the chocolate one, the decadent chocolate ones, and I was in making the cranberry ones. And I went out to the car to check on my product, and I lost over 100. That was in my car, in totes, that had melted, the chocolate icing.
And so then you started to think maybe there's an easier way?
Well, there again, I thought, well, maybe this is just not what I need to do. You know, it's so time-consuming. It's a lot of hurdles. And by the way, I'd already jumped through the hurdle down at the commercial kitchen and got inspected by the Department of Agriculture in North Carolina. So I am fully bona fide.
So then you went from here to going ahead and deciding you're going to build your own kitchen on your property, so you didn't have to drive and clank and have things heat up and melt, correct?
Yeah, well, I looked at several of the prefab storage buildings, but there again, I'm like, well, I don't know how big this business is going to be, so I don't want to just put a regular oven in there.
Yeah.
And so then I decided I would use, like the one in Wentworth, a double convection oven, which this thing has 12 shelves, and I could crank out 1,000 biscotti a day.
Wow.
Well, I knew that building wouldn't support a 1,000-pound oven. It took 5 men to get it in there, 5 big strapping men to load that thing and get it in my building. So from there, my husband's got a friend that decided I'd ask him, and he built it for me, and he did a fabulous job.
And that's good, because in building that, it's stronger, and if you need to add later on, you know, you can do that.
That's correct.
So here we are. You have gone from cooking biscotti, which is a tough thing to do, to cooking it in a way that even the Italians from Jersey love it. You've got your commercial kitchen, and all this, and when did all this start? When did you cook your first batch that you were capable of selling? You know, commercial kitchen and all
right, real quick, a synopsis is, first week in August, I had my first Italian baked biscotti in a while.
This is August of 15, last year.
Yes, this past August.
Wow, that's fast.
And I baked my first biscotti to sell, I would say, in October. And now, here it is, March 1, and I'm sitting in my own kitchen. My building, I mean, I'm a very strong spiritual person, and I prayed and asked God, if this was not going to work, stop it. Just completely stop it, and I wouldn't ask why. My commercial kitchen was built in 19 days, and that's digging the footing, doing the concrete pillars, and me turning the oven on.
And typical for that was, what would it normally take? What did you think it would take? How many days?
Oh, wow. I would have thought, you know, that the average, if somebody was going to build you a garage, usually takes a month or two.
A month and a half, yeah. That's amazing. And that's, as you hear, the sound you hear is I have the menta chocolate, which is Italian for mint chocolate. Tell us all, I want to hear very quickly, because we've got a couple of minutes here. I want you to tell us, please, all of the flavors you have, and then where people can get these. And, of course, they can look it up on your Ambrosi, AMBROSI, Facebook page, right?
Yes, and I have a website, too, ambrosibiscotti.com.
All right. Where can they buy them here in town now, Alice?
Okay. Y'all owe me for this one.
Okay.
I want some big orders. All right, we have Midtown Market on Chambers Street.
You can get them there, okay.
Yeah, we have Woodson Marathon is my new vendor as of Monday
Lawrence
on Riverside.
Woodson and his mom, yes.
Oh, Elsie, yeah, she'll promote it.
Yes.
And Karen's Hallmark, the Dewdrop Inn on 58 Chestnut Lane on Main. The other place on 41, it is a convenience store. And Haymore's Landscaping.
So that's where they can get them now. And they can look at, you don't have to memorize that list. Just Google Alice Woodson, biscotti, all the places we can find her, come up. And what are your next plans? What size of place do you want to sell these to? Or, I mean, I guess are you at a point now where you could make a bunch more, or are you at a capacity for where your kitchen is?
I don't want to get overwhelmed. I want to be able to meet my supply and demand. I have several large people looking at me. Without going into detail.
But you'd have to expand in order to accommodate them, correct? Or would that pretty much fill up where you are now? That'd be the limit.
I would probably have to expand. In fact, I've already picked out a site for a factory.
And so, wonderful. So I guess now, because we're going to wrap this thing up, Alice Warren Woodson. On Facebook, just Google Alice Woodson Biscotti. You'll find all places you can find her and this delicious biscotti. Your next step now, you just got to decide how you're going to expand and for how many people, but you've got it going. You know people like it. So the dream is really here. Now it's just a matter of how big. Isn't that something?
I'm overwhelmed. I'm very grateful and thankful. I really humbled, all the words.
And we're proud of you because your daughter, our Genya Woodson, by the way, this is her mom. She's here at night. Does a great job here. She's on our sister station. And we're all of us here, like the family, proud of watching Mom. Look at all the things you're doing. And the biscotti's delicious. I'm sitting here. I've been talking, haven't had a chance to get into it. And I'm sitting here looking at this. I am on the way to getting into my mint chocolate biscotti. So Google her. Look at all these things. They're perfect for it. You can be the cool one to introduce all this to your friends, too. Alice, it's been a wonderful journey. It's amazing, except that it's you, how quickly you've put this together, but you would. So you do move fast just like I do. We have to remind ourselves, slow down a little bit. We're the same way, but it's okay, isn't it?
That's right. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm proud of you. It's great to have you in here, and I don't have to say good luck to you because one of my favorite quotes of all time was from former President Lyndon Johnson. He said, I noticed the harder I work, the luckier I get. And he was not talking about luck, and we know that, right?
Right.
Well, congratulations. We're very proud of you. Once again, anybody who wants to know anywhere about how to get all these things, just Google Alice Woodson Biscotti. Her Facebook page will come up. Her website page will come up. And maybe even Ed McMahon will come up talking about her. Who knows? You're probably the only one who could arrange that. And once again, nice top you've got there. Nice hoodie with it's black with gold Alice on one side and Ambrosi Biscotti on the other. And that's named after one of your aunts, isn't it?
Grace Edwards in New Jersey.
Family lineage and delicious stuff that even the Jersey folks are saying is good. Alice, congratulations. And just now you can take a little breath.
Back to bacon as soon as I leave here.
There we go. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.